Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's Jerry Miller. It's great to be with you on a Thursday. This week is flying by. So great to connect with you on this platform. It's an absolute pleasure to showcase the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. We try to do it in a positive, approachable, humanized, localized, and personalized fashion here on the I Love CVille Show. Lisa Greene is going to join us in a matter of moments. I've been so stoked for this interview. She is awesome. We have a lot in common. She loves sports. She loves Charlottesville. She can't relax, just like me. She loves the real estate side of things and development, which I love. I'm so excited to welcome her to the program in a matter of moments. Before we do, let's thank a couple sponsors for being a part of the show. We are an advertising agency at V&V Brands and I Love CVille, and one of our favorite clients is Interstate Pest and Service Companies. This business started in 1969 with the first generation, Mr. Robert Wells. He, in 1969, used his personal truck to start the company. After he went to his first customer and serviced them successfully, he would find the closest payphone in 1969, call his second customer and say, "Can I go to your house now?" Today, it's a 4-generation strong family business with almost 100 employees and a Commonwealth-wide footprint. I love stories like this, guys. I also love the good doctor, Scott Wagner of Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine, one of our fantastic clients. Dr. Wagner has your back with chiropractic care, sports medicine, and physical therapy. Trust Dr. Wagner with your quality of life. Judah Wickauer, you're the director of the program. 7 years of working together. I say we have a love-hate relationship. I love him. Sometimes I think he hates me. But I love you, Judah Wickauer. Let's go to the studio camera, and we're going to welcome Lisa Greene now to the show. Hello, Lisa.
Thank you.
Why don't we start with Lisa Greene, the person. Who is Lisa Greene?
First off, I am the chair for the City Planning Commission.
Right.
I also work for the County of Albemarle, and today my opinions are my own, and I am not speaking for any of those two entities.
Okay.
So
respect that.
thank you. Other than that, I have a lovely wife and a beautiful family,
Okay.
and I'm a mom,
Okay.
which is crazy for me to say, but that is true. And I try to help whenever I can.
When you were talking off air about your son and your daughter, you were just beaming. I mean, just beaming with pride and love and joy. Throw that to you.
They are two awesome kids, that is for sure. They are way smarter than I am, and probably if this continues, my daughter she'll want to come on here and give her opinion at some point.
Happy to have her.
They're pretty fantastic. They know a whole lot about Cville Pride and gender expression and equality and equity and planning than any kid should know.
The golden rule, right? I mean, if we all just live by the golden rule.
Right? That's right.
Oh, man, let me throw this to you. We call it the origin story. Leah Woody, welcome to the program. Love you, Leah Woody.
That's my neighbor.
She is awesome. Huge fan of Leah Woody. You have a lot of people watching right now. We call it the origin or the birth story, the flip book of your life, if you may. Let's start where you were born, childhood, what it was like.
I was born in Coleman, Alabama.
Okay.
I had a great childhood, great parents, 2 younger brothers, but a very rural part of Tennessee and not so forward thinking. So pretty much as soon as I could, I left, and I thought D.C. was my path to be more progressive. My parents are liberal voting, but we're still in the Bible Belt.
Okay.
But they are very supportive, and I have a great support system there. Just the locality is probably not where I should be. And things are changing since then. I was in
Slowly.
the early 90s.
Yeah.
Yes. So I moved to D.C. and thought that was my path. Did many things there.
Like what?
Well, I worked for, my degree is in design and drafting, and I worked for the United States Army Recruiting Support Command as a designer for a lot of different things for Army recruiting.
Cool.
That was a fun job, and then I worked for several different not several, a couple different in construction management and project management. So retail chains and things like that, and traveled all over the country and met a lot of people and worked construction or project management. So
Sounds like you like building things.
Yes. People think, based off of some of my votes, I'm not very, development oriented, but we can get into that.
Yeah, later, yeah.
So, yeah, I like building things. I like seeing things constructed. I like to see smart design, and I like to see things to the finish, to the end.
So, D.C., how old were you when you got to D.C.?
Wow, 23.
23?
Yeah.
23-year-old in D.C.?
Yeah.
What was that like? Were you living the life?
It was a lot more to do than in rural Tennessee.
Alabama, Tennessee, right, yeah.
I always joke and say in Tennessee, when the lights go out, unless there's a full moon, you can't see your face in front of your hand. But when the full moon is out, you don't have to have your headlights on at night either. So it's pretty rural.
Culture shock when you got to D.C.?
It was different.
Yeah?
It was very different. Wow, coming out story. I came out in Alabama. It was not so great.
Right.
At all. And I knew,
How so?
Violence. A lot of violence. So it was nice to come to a place where, and I'm a little hard-headed and stubborn, and so I am me. I've always been me. And so even for my own safety, I was still like, yes, this is who I am, and there. And it was a culture shock to be able to come to D.C., even in the early 90s, and feel more safe, my personal space more safe, being out, being gay, and just being myself. So that was a big shock.
Violence to you?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Man, I can't imagine, you know?
It's not obviously something I talk about, and now here we go, your world. But, people fear things. When people are afraid of, then they act in ways they probably should not. And they hurt people out of their own fear and their own lack of confidence and self-confidence, and potentially out of their own lack of understanding of who they are as well. So I evidently was a threat, and so.
And you're like I haven't known you for that long here, like 15 minutes, but you're cool.
Well, thanks.
I just get the impression that you're just like, you could probably go into any spot, anywhere, and make human connection, and hang out.
I like talking.
Yeah, you like people. The energy, I can totally tell.
Well, thanks.
Did you feel? What did you feel when you came out that you were a leader, or did you feel like I got to do this?
Wow, in the mid '80s in Alabama, I just felt like I had to be me, and then I lost friends who were of the LGBTQ community because they didn't want to be around me because. Guilty by association. I've had a lot of friends assaulted.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, D.C., you're 23, completely different
Oh, yeah.
than rural Alabama.
Yes.
I
found their sport rugby up there, so that even added a new layer of fun.
Talk to us about rugby. You're a competitive person.
I'm a little bit competitive.
Yeah, would you say uber competitive? That's what I am.
I'm probably, my friends would probably say that. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And it's a strength. Sometimes it can be a weakness.
Correct.
Sometimes we can turn some people off.
Correct.
Because we like getting that W. For me, it's not. For me, like I love playing. Love sports. But for me, it's like the adrenaline or that feeling that comes with the competition. You know what I'm talking about? That's what I chase. The juice is what I chase.
Well, there's juice watching, and there's juice, having sports, but there's a completely different adrenaline rush that happens when you put on your rugby cleats and you step on the field and the whistle blows.
Talk to me about that. Because you guys are hitting people without pads.
That is right.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a rush, and it gets we people had a saying called a rugby addict, and it is addictive. That adrenaline rush is addictive, and I loved it. And you do turn into a somewhat different person there. So
Tyler Berry says, Lisa Greene is a great lady. I worked with her at the Pride Festival. Very professional, very coordinated. James Watson, Lisa Greene is a gift to CVille. Anyone who gets to know her will like her and be her friend. I'm glad to see her on this show. If you have any comments that you want to relay to Lisa Greene, put it in the chat box. I'm happy to do it. 23 in D.C., building a career, playing rugby, much more welcoming environment.
Right.
Talk to us what happens next.
I was working hard.
You're grinding?
I was on a plane about 3 days a week.
Get out. Where?
Yeah. Well, I was in construction, so we were doing project management all over the country.
Awesome.
And so that was a little hard. I was tired. A friend of mine was here, a person I was dating, going to school, and they said, hey, let's go down one day. And when I got here, just for that weekend, I felt it. I was like, wow, this is a special place.
What drew you to Charlottesville? What special how? Because it gets its hooks in you.
I don't know. I don't know what it was. I think it was the people. I think it was, where it was located, the feel of the city, just. So I quit my job within a couple of months and moved down here without a job.
Get out.
So.
Baller. You came
not sure about that.
From D.C. to Charlottesville, no job, and were you just like, I'm going to figure it out?
Right.
Really?
Right.
That is so, courageous and confident and, risk-taking. I love that. Were you freaking out?
I had a little bit of money saved
Okay.
up. So
you had some runway.
I had a little runway. I
Okay.
wasn't. And I did make a lot more money there than I do here. So I had a little cushion, but up there I was either going to have a heart attack because I was on the go. I was 16, 18 hours a day. It was pretty brutal.
Sounds like my life.
But then I come here and I'm not doing, well, I am doing much less here. I do take some time for my kids and family, but I was okay. I got a job.
Come to Charlottesville. First gig doing what?
County.
Okay. So you start with Albemarle County.
Started with Elmore
How
County.
did that work?
So I just randomly thought, okay, I could. The title was zoning inspector at that point, and I thought, well, I'll apply and see what happens. And I applied a few other places, and I got a call back, and that's where I started.
Siri Russell says Lisa is addictive.
Thanks, Siri.
Give it a like, give it a share on any of the streams that you guys are watching. We'll give some props to CJ Sidner. I'm sorry I'm messing up your last name, CJ. He's giving you props. Kathy Von Wald, Stephen Boyd, George Linney, Misty Colble. Siri's really giving you some props. Like and share on all the streams here. So you start in Albemarle County.
Right.
What's it like working for a municipality? Especially when you were going from probably, the private sector, which I would think has got to be a stark contrast to working with a municipality.
Yes. When I started there, I'm not sure I was the best county employee. Sorry. It took a while.
Why you say that? I bet you were great at it.
Look, being a local government employee on either a planning commission or board, anything like that, you're a public servant. You serve the public. And I was used to running a construction site. Those are two different things and two different types of communication.
You're saying calling the shots, dictating pace and tempo,
Right.
being in control at all times. Yeah.
Sure.
Which I'm sure you love. Me too.
A little bit of an organizing. Yeah, I like to organize things and have it organized, and I'm a little bit of a control freak.
Me too.
Right.
There's the right way, and then there's Jerry's way. Is there the right way and there's Lisa's way?
Well, there's my mama always told me do things right the first time, and then you don't have to do it twice.
Right.
So I do live a little bit like that, and much to the chagrin of my children, and some others that have to work with me, but I am a little bit of a stickler in that sense.
I love it. I can totally relate to that. You come to Charlottesville. You're working for the county. When do you start realizing you're in the groove? You got this gig down.
Oh,
Do you feel like you have it down now?
look, public service. I learn something every single day. Every single day. Things change. I mean, when I started, we were zoning inspectors. We did things one way. The culture and nature of politics is involved in being a public servant. Our government as a whole, even national government, has changed the atmosphere. It's changed the culture. It's changed how people think. It's changed how people trust and fear, and so that makes a difference.
What do you mean by that?
Wow, I mean, I think there are people in our community that are afraid, based off of this current national political scene, and I think that. Well, I'll tell you a story. You wanted me to, so. Our kids are very much into politics too. I like politics a lot.
Me too.
And
Because you're competitive.
Maybe. And the day after the election in 2016, my son woke up and he said, it was raining out. And he said, he won, didn't he? And I said, yeah. And he said, does this mean we don't get to be a family anymore? And I said, absolutely not. We're going to always be a family. Yeah, that hurts 2 years later. So there's a lot of people in fear. I mean, I can't even imagine. I'm not a person of color. I'm not a person from another, someone that has immigrated to the United States. I can't imagine that fear. I mean, that is a fear as well. Are we not going to be a family tomorrow? And we just saw this yesterday in Mississippi with these poultry factories where they were raided and people lost their parents. Kids lost their parents. So we live in fearful times. And that is all the more reason for us to be at a local level responsive and empathetic and understanding.
I totally agree. Julie Weed is giving you props right now. Siri says, we are lucky to have you. You have the heart of a public servant devoted to her community. Julie absolutely agrees with that. You're crushing it right now. When you tell your son, we're staying as a family.
Right.
How does the response there? And I'm asking as a dad.
Right.
I was 16-month-old, and I'll tell you a crazy story. This happened to me, this was yesterday. So I don't get to see him all the time because I'm working hard here.
Right.
Wife works in the business. She's a rock star, superstar. Moms are superstars. She's doing payables and receivables while keeping our son healthy and headed in the right direction. I'm grinding here. Yesterday I saw a dad with what was a 2-year-old son right outside I Love CVille. And they were playing with a truck. And he fell down, the little boy. He hit his head, busted his lip open, started crying. And I saw the dad rush over to him, scoop him up, and hugged him and want to take that pain away from his son and put it on his shoulders. Like how he hugged him, I could just tell he felt so bad.
Right.
And that literally caused me to get tears in my eyes.
Right.
And I was never like that until my son came into my life.
My kids came into my life, and they're my stepkids, but they don't like me calling them that, so I don't. They're my kids. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like they're stepkids. They're my kids. And it is a different feeling. You look at the world
so differently.
Right. And it doesn't matter if they are your biological children or not. It is something that, you also have to put on that stiff upper lip and be strong and show, security and safety and I said, we're going to work this out and it's going to be okay. This too is going to be okay.
You are a leader in this community in so many different ways. And I'm going to embarrass you a little bit here because people look up to you. and I see it on the feed right now. Elena Michaels, thank you for sharing these stories with Charlottesville Lisa. It's so important to hear, and you have so much heart. You're a leader in planning and zoning. You're a leader in the county, leader in the city, leader at the Pride Festival. You're one of the founders of Cville Pride. I want to go down this entire road. I have so much respect and admiration for your entrepreneurial spirit, your courage. Not everyone is willing to be, or maybe not everyone has the makeup to be a leader. Talk to us about that. Do you embody it? Do you embrace it?
I don't, I mean, people, I'm sorry. I'm a little bit, I want to do what's right. I wasn't going to get involved in the Cville Pride organization. I was okay living my life. And a friend of mine said, you've got so much to share because of what you've been through coming out, growing up, and turning out okay. I mean, everyone still has faults, but, I have a job, have a great family, and so, it's okay. It's great. And letting out the kids know that it's going to be okay. They can get, just stay strong, and, those bullies won't be bullies, and they may be bullies forever, but you are who you are, and stay strong in who you are. And so that was important. And so I did think about that, and that's why I reached out and said, hey, I want to be a part of this.
When was this?
2012.
Okay.
I want to be, I guess that's leadership. For me, it's
leadership.
just about doing the right thing, whether it's for zoning or planning or looking at it through all angles. I don't have all the answers for certain, but I believe that everyone should be treated with respect and dignity, and
me too.
And I like to talk to people, whoever that may be, at whatever time that is, and that is a little bit something my family gets a little aggravated at. So I tell a story not that long ago when we go out on the downtown mall. I say, okay, I may talk to people tonight. You go do your thing, because I do get on. I do have a tendency to talk too long.
Sure,
people.
Me too. And probably when you go downtown, you get stopped by every Tom, Dick, and Harry, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I do have nights where I say, okay, I'm going to go downtown alone tonight so that y'all don't have to endure this. And there was one night I left my house. I'm right over close to Beer Run in the city, and I didn't make it downtown from that area to the pavilion until like 8:14. And so while I didn't mind that, it was energizing for me. Getting to talk to people and seeing how it energizes me. I love it. So.
I can totally relate. And not everyone is of this mindset. We feed off human connection. And we it is like a foundation for us to continue like the energy. I
Right.
totally can relate to what you're saying. When you are founder of Cville Pride and the Pride Festival, was there?
One of them, not
There's co-founders.
Yeah, right.
Co-founders.
There's like 5 or 6 of them.
Was there friction when you're starting this?
No. When we started it, we were all excited, and we were told, you'll never get this off the ground. It'll never happen. And we were just like, okay, let's throw caution to the wind. Let's do this. And so our first festival had about 1,500 people, and we were hoping for a couple hundred.
1,500 is a ton. I mean, that's just a home run. Where was it? Was it at?
It was downtown at the Market Street Park,
Okay.
Formerly known as Lee Park
Sure.
at the time.
Yeah.
It's where all the other festivals were being held. Hindsight is 20/20. Looking back, we made mistakes. We're 5 people from an organization that we just said, let's have a Pride Festival. There's a lot going on. We need to give people a place to go. And you could make a month-long story out of some stories we've heard from people about, and every year we hear stories about just being able to come out and hold hands with their partner of 30 years that they've never held hands in public. Or every year that we've had the festival, we've had at least one person lose a job because they were at the festival and
Really?
had media attention. And right now in the Commonwealth of Virginia, that is still something that you can be fired for being gay in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Are you serious?
That's right. And you can be denied housing without any repercussion.
How is that? That's so archaic. So archaic is not even the right word. That's just the definition of closed-minded stupidity.
But aren't we living that nationally? So.
Touche.
Right.
Touche.
So.
I think having it, and this is just one man's opinion here, you and I just spitballing, having it at at Market Street Park is awesome, because in a lot of ways it shows that like love like transpires and supersedes all that history.
It was. I mean, that was the initial thought. Look, this is a park of hate. Let's take over this park and say, no, we're not going to do this. We're going to, but, you know, we didn't, we were, people told us, look, we're not comfortable there, and we don't want to, the Charlottesville Pride Festival is about everyone coming together and being who you are.
Gotcha.
No matter what that is. I mean, if you know, whatever your gender expression, whoever you love, that's what it's about. And so we did not want to be at a place where some people felt uncomfortable.
Got it. Got it. Kit Ashy, Monsoon chef and owner, is watching right now. She's giving you props. A lot of people giving you props. I'm going to relay some of the comments. I think I relayed Elena Michaels already. Thank you for sharing these stories with CVille. So important, so much heart. Terry Beasley, the world needs more Lisa Greenes. Megan Brown, Lisa still inspires me here all the way in Texas. She's watching in Texas. Dolly Joseph, Lisa is my hero. Teresa Hawkins Miller, so proud of you, Lisa. Josh Van Zant, proud of you for being you. Miss seeing you in May. Give it a like and a share on any of the streams that you're watching. Anja Andalik from Fig Bistro watching right now. Folks watching on Long Island and Alabama and Tennessee and North Carolina, across Central Virginia. We want to thank Pascal Collette for watching now. You on fire right now. You on fire.
Thank you all. That's very nice.
It's a testament
Generous.
to you. All right, how about, I think we would be remiss, and I always ask our guests about the better half, about your wife, right? We got to give her some props here. Open-ended question.
Oh, about Amy Sarah?
Yeah.
She is a force to be reckoned with. That is for sure. She started this organization. She's really probably, you know, she and a couple others started the Pride organization with a picnic. And she has gotten up and has shaken her finger at some of the board members in the past for, you know, not recognizing Pride or not recognizing women's rights or equality. And so she's pretty amazing.
Tell us the love story.
Oh!
Did you charm her?
Not intentionally.
Okay.
We met as board members for the Pride Festival, for the first Pride Festival.
Okay.
That is true. We did not know each other before then. And we worked on the festival together, and sparks evidently flew, and so here we are. I did propose to her at the third or fourth festival.
Really?
Yeah, right before it began.
In front of everybody?
In front of everybody.
What? Tell me that story. That's awesome. I remember when I proposed to my wife, I was like, I did it outside the Downtown Grill. It was the site of our first kiss.
Right.
Our first kiss was there, and then I'm like, I'm going to propose in the same spot.
Right.
And he was hiding behind the scenes, snapping photos, because it was kind of like he wanted like the real reaction.
Right.
And right before I did it, we went for happy hour. And I ordered a beer and an old-fashioned. And I remember picking up my old-fashioned. My hand was shaking.
I will tell you, I was in a little bit of a panic mode myself because it was Pride Week and we had so much going on. And I got the ring made and we went to the starting the Pride Festival. We've been up since 4 in the morning getting it all set up. And that is the place where we, you know, being at the park so often where we had been measuring the park to see if we could fit everybody in there and putting the tents up and doing all the things. So we had many meetings there. And so that's right. It felt like that was the place to do that.
When you dropped down on a knee and you proposed, did everyone?
Well, I had prepared most people and told people, I'm going to do this if y'all want to be there.
Okay.
So a lot
And
of
of
our
course they
friends
were.
We
Yeah.
had a lot of people there.
Yeah.
She did not know, and then I had the kids there.
Well, did she not? Did she realize what's going on here? Although everybody that's close to us is in one spot here.
Well, it was the festival.
Right.
So,
Gotcha. So it was a party. Yeah.
And I did have someone behind her in case she ran. I had kind of prepared that as well.
You've used that line before. That was good. So what was the reaction? She was all about it?
Yeah, she was pretty excited. Yeah, and surprised. So.
Oh, man, I love this interview. We got a lot of people giving you some props. Let me relay some of the props that are happening right now. Pascal Colette, thank you, Lisa, and congratulations to you. Your community must be proud. She's watching in France right now. Friendship from France.
That's another story for another day.
This is going, Lisa Greene is going global, ladies and gentlemen, on the I Love CVille show. Julie says, Lisa has set a new bar for how responsible festivals can be run. She always wants to be a good neighbor and has created great relationships with everyone in our community. People say they're loving Lisa Greene on the show right now. Give it a like and a share on any of the pages that you're watching. The festival's evolution, how its maturation, if you may, the trials and tribulations.
Oh gosh, we learn something every year. Like I said, it's 5 people. We have full-time jobs, families. This organization is not run by an executive director, and we all do this volunteer work. Everything is volunteer work. We have, like I said, every year we learn something new. We learn to do something different. If we've hurt people in the past, it was completely unintentional. We now are at the pavilion. When the first couple festivals, we started in about June trying to pull it together with literally $0 in the bank. And so there are definitely businesses out there that we could not have ever done this. MS Events, I have to mention them. They are amazing. The city of Charlottesville has been amazing helping out. Edgecombs, and I could go on and on and on. I mean, and we've got the CFA Institute, and this has morphed into not just a festival for a celebration in September, but we do safe space training now. Amy Sarah she's a little rock star. Julie Weed and Siri, they do safe space trainings, and it is important for the community. It helps people understand things to say or not say, or to not make people feel bad about themselves. And that's hard to do, and it's unintentional bias, basically, and in a lot of different ways. But this safe space training is LGBTQ focused. We just safe space trained Firefly. Super excited about that.
That's awesome.
And it
Melissa, right?
Yes.
Melissa MC.
That's right.
Yeah, she's great.
And we have now, the week before, it has morphed into a youth picnic. The youth in this community, we found, are super excited that we have this event, and they get to come out and have community. And so we do a little picnic for them the week before, and we try to give them their new Pride shirt. We give those to the youth that come out to the picnic before the festival. So we've heard from the schools that they love wearing the shirts. Our daughter wears a Pride shirt almost every single day to school, and I asked her one day if she has anything that's not rainbow that she could probably wear to school, and she's like, no. So but they love that. So we try to, give community. We had some people from the senior center say, hey, we want to do something. We'd like to have a get together for community. It's all about that, showing and being around and having the community of like people, right? Where you don't think you'll be judged and you feel safe. And so it's morphed into something that I don't know that we thought would happen. Awesome. Hopes that we would love to get to a place where financially we could potentially hire an executive director or a part-time executive director, and then we could have we often sit and think, well, it'd be awesome have a youth center. We've had people ask for that, especially youth.
It's a great idea, like a headquarters.
Right.
Like what you're saying, like a safe place.
A safe place.
Yeah.
Where a kid could come after school. We do, and even potentially have a place for seniors to have coffee and seniors to help with the youth, have doing homework, and just have
love that
intergenerational community. And things aren't cheap around here. I know that more than anybody, being on the Planning Commission.
Right.
And so it's just finding the right time and the right space and the finances.
Do you feel like it has to be in the city?
I
Should
do.
be in the city?
I do, and I'll tell you.
It's the heart?
Not just because of the heart. It's the heart. It's so that it's accessible to those who don't have transportation.
Well said.
On bus lines and being able to be there.
I love it. I love it. How did the organization and the team respond to August 12th?
That was hard. LGBTQ people were definitely targeted, not near the target that our Jewish community received, nor our people of color. I say to some people, look, for especially a person of color, 500 yards away, you've got an instant. People can see, but it's sometimes harder for people of the LGBT community to be outed, as and so it's not a oppression Olympic, so to speak. There's there's oppression there, but we were not. I don't feel as targeted as much. Definitely, I think some of the hate for those more visible. Our transgender community is definitely targeted. And that is nationwide. I mean, that is something, and it's targeting that's not necessarily you would see right away.
What do you mean by that?
Well, let's take our Sage, Sage Smith.
Yeah.
Sage disappeared.
Yeah.
We had a lot of people disappearing around that time. The news media really latched onto it and wouldn't let it go, and our police chief was out and doing press conferences and. I'm not trying to badmouth anyone, but Sage did not get the same recognition at all. We were asking at that time, even right down to the news media were saying, calling Sage Dashad. There's some back and forth about that. Sometimes, between some people, what we had heard from, we had some conversations with Sage at the Pride Festival right before, that September before she went missing. And what we knew is Sage wanted to be called Sage and referred to in the pronoun she. And so, but that was not ever offered. So that's tough.
It is tough. And that's just what? And that's just maybe like a mindset that just hasn't evolved?
It is, which is why we have some safe space training.
Uh-huh.
Look, I had a story about a police officer here at Charlottesville, and we've got a lot of kids right now. The university has got a transgender youth clinic, and so with things evolving nationally with marriage equality and things, people are becoming more comfortable to come out, which is what people should have the right to do.
Absolutely.
But when one of the people of our youth, people are transitioning and they're coming to this understanding of themselves earlier in life, and so they may have an identification that is Rose, but they are not going by Rose. They may be, I'm just using the word Tom.
Sure. Yeah.
And on the mall. And so if a police officer asks for identification, now it's the police has to question: are you lying to me? Are you trying to represent someone else? And so he said, he got a call from one of his. He said, no, I know this kid. the kid, this is a kid, But without that understanding that right now, again, it's such a all the red tape and paperwork that you have to go through to get the proper ID for your gender identity. People walk through life with the incorrect identification all the time.
Respect this. Respect. Bree Graham Hopkins, great job, Lisa. You were so well spoken. You're crushing it right now. Jennifer Moad, am I saying that right? Lisa, I love you. Everything you do for the community. Thanks for your hard work with the Pride Fest. If you have a comment you'd like to relay to Lisa, put it in the comment feed and I'll relay it to her. Ray Cadell, John Craig, Kyle Irvin. You got a ton of people watching right now. A lot of real estate folks watching. We've gone 45. You're a breath of fresh air. We've gone 45 minutes, and I just thoroughly have enjoyed getting to know you. Planning Commission. 9 years on the Planning Commission. Chairwoman.
I've got one more month being the chair.
Okay. What do you love about it? Obviously, you love it, right? Because it's not the compensation.
Right. I mean, I love planning and zoning. I like the understanding of, helping people. I think a lot of people in the community go through life without an understanding of, kind of the laws of planning and zoning and what you can and can't do. And I actually enjoy mostly the education part of that and kind of helping people understand this is why this is and this is how you can change it. I mean, laws are changed all the time. But for planning and zoning, I think it's important to have, it's all encompassing as far as it's not just about rezoning a property, it's about what's the infrastructure, what's the transportation, schools. I always say this when I talk about comprehensive plan, we need to include our school districting in that. That's not a popular conversation, but we sit and spend a lot of time on transportation in walkable and bikeable neighborhoods so that people can access schools and use the schools as community places. Yet our school districting does not align with that. So a lot of things. I will tell you that I did join the Planning Commission prior to being a mom, and I see things a lot differently. Even with transportation, I was a big advocate at that time when I first joined for single occupancy vehicles. We gotta get this, and it's still, there's still things, and it wasn't until Amy Sarah was a single mom at that point, and just her route in the afternoon. One kid was in preschool, the other kid was in, city schools, and just picking up from after school and. She would leave work at 5 o'clock, but not get home till 6:30, and all this in the city, because you've got to go from one end to the other and diagonal the city, and so it's just not. We don't have a transportation system in this set in place yet, and I have high hopes for our new city manager and our new transportation director, but we don't have that transportation in place to say, hey, you need to get out of your vehicle right now, but. I'm hopeful. I think there's a lot of people on this. We have a lot of talent in the city, and I hope that there's a lot of cities that are working hard throughout the United States. I'd like for us to do more looking at what others have done and where their mistakes have been made instead of going at things, making mistakes, and doing a lot more research for that kind of thing. And that's not just about transportation, but it's about, low-income housing and affordable housing and transportation and comprehensive planning. There's a lot of people out there working hard, doing things well, and making mistakes. And we should learn from that so that we are not making the same mistakes.
What is it? More than half of city land is zoned R1? Like 52, 53, 54%.
Right.
A lot of folks that are proponents for affordable housing think that we need to have massive zoning overhaul, and starts with that R1.
Right.
Throw that to you.
That sounds pretty simple. I think I personally, my opinion is it's much more complicated than that. You got to put it in the right place. You don't want to. Some of our affordable housing right now is an R1, once you start upzoning that, now you've made that land more valuable and you've made it more
Opportunistic for people.
That's right.
Yeah.
For people to sell out, and now we've lost some of the affordable housing, and now I build, $3 million condos on it. So right now, and I think this is where we are with our housing advisory committee, and the city is working on an RFP for a housing strategy, and I think that is extremely important to get that in place, and have that be a part of the comprehensive plan, and create that map, the comprehensive plan map, the land use map, with our housing strategy. So we would do this smart. We don't want to build a lot of affordable housing in near floodplains. I can't for the life of me. That's one of those things why would we do that? We've got some of our low-income people, and then we're going to put them in a floodplain so they lose everything. I mean, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We should make sure that when we build the low-income housing, it's in a good place. It's near transportation. If we've got low-income housing or affordable housing, that should be near transportation. So we need to do that in conjunction so that we have the right plan.
Andrew Sneatherin, love Lisa. Your wife is watching. Would you like to hear what she said?
No, that's
Come
good.
on,
I'll hear it when I get home.
I love you, honey. As her wife, I will tell you that what she loves is talking and listening to folks, which she does at any hour of the day or night, and she tries to help them all. Sounds like you got a big heart.
I try to hide that.
Well, you're not hiding it well right now.
I know. This mom thing has really broken down some of those walls.
I can relate to that. What do you think from folks that are looking in? What is Lisa Greene's reputation as a planning commissioner?
Oh, I think a lot of people think I don't like development. That's just not true.
Like strategic development, right? Yeah.
We've got state laws we need to get fixed so that the city, there's different, people don't realize that we've got a city and a county boundary, and the city, between those, they have different laws.
And you would know that better than most, working for the county planning commission for the city.
Right. And so there are different laws that are enabled by the state, and that's that Dillon rule state that we all live in. It's very hard to understand. The legislation gives us the enabling authority to create specific laws, and the county has a different law on affordable housing than the city does, and so it's changing some legislation. I'm hopeful that we're very close to getting some real change in the legislation a couple years ago. I'm even more hopeful this year. I think we got some great candidates running. And
You got a lot of them watching now.
Hi.
Bellamy Brown's watching right now. You got 2 active city councilors watching right now.
So, well, thanks. And then I think, so we've got to work on, and I'm not anti. I do, sometimes I don't want to, I think we get developments where we throw in a unit of affordable housing, and I feel like that's giving away the farm for one unit, and we're over 3,000 low. We're in deficit of over 3,000 units of affordable housing, and not just 80% AMI, which is,
Area median income.
right.
Yeah.
It's we need some 30%, 40% AMI. People don't realize, as a public servant working for a local government for the longest time, me as an individual, I qualified for low-income housing, like medium to low-income housing.
Do you live in the city?
I do, since I moved here. So.
One of the things that frustrates me is I'm not going to build any affordable housing in this development, but I'll allocate money to some slush fund that could go to affordable housing.
Well, that's
right. Frustrating.
Well, it's not that it could go, that it does go for maybe not building, but it goes for land acquisition. It goes for helping to upgrade and repair housing that, so there's some organizations that do good work with that. But you're right, you don't see it, so.
It's not
when
tangible.
That's right.
Yeah. I am fearful, and I'm torn on this, as an entrepreneur and as a small business owner that services other businesses as an advertising agency. That side of me likes that the economy's strong, Charlottesville's booming, people are coming in from all over the country to Charlottesville, dropping their money in here, just really driving the economy forward. Mm-hmm. The other side of me, as a conscious capitalist or a social entrepreneur, or as a dad, as a husband, mm-hmm. is terrified that Charlottesville's turning into like a San Francisco, where it's only like a mecca or a playground for like the rich
right.
and the 1%ers. I mean, we only have 10.27 square miles here. It ain't a big city. That topic to you, I mean, should we be concerned that that's where we're headed with the city of CVille?
I do worry about that. I worry about that, not necessarily for myself, but I've got 2 kids that still want to live here.
Right.
So, I think that we've got to, and I'm hopeful, and maybe I'm over hopeful, but I'm hopeful with this housing strategy that we find a solution to be able to help create a wider range of different price points for housing. And not just, I call it warehousing. I don't like warehousing houses, but it is a roof. It's not homeless. I get that, but I want us to do this in a smart way, in an equitable way, not just equality, but equitable.
I love it. What do you think, Yolanda Harrell from New Hill? Welcome to the program. Love you, Yolanda. Thank you for coming on the show. What do you think your legacy is in Charlottesville? There's many layers to that onion.
I haven't ever.
You ever think about legacy?
No.
No?
I haven't thought about
ever?
it. No.
What do you think? What do you think it's going to be? What do you hope it to be?
An awesome mom.
Love that answer.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't thought about it. I like working. I mean, I like to work. I liked, as Amy Sarah said, and again, much to my kids not liking it so much. I do like talking to people, and I like helping people. And I don't know if I'm helping. I hope so. That's the hope I have. So I guess being a good leader would be an awesome legacy. I strive hard to make sure that I'm paying attention personally.
I love that. What's your favorite aspect of Charlottesville?
Oh gosh, aspect?
What do you love about Charlottesville? You clearly love Charlottesville.
I love the community. I love that people are engaged.
Me too.
Before August 12th of 2017, which, that's that unfortunate date that lives in infamy at this point. And
forever.
Yeah, I mean, it is really unfortunate because it is. But prior to that, being a public servant on the Planning Commission, I really, really enjoy people coming and saying how they feel. And I felt there was a lot, while people are engaged, not necessarily at the Planning Commission level, but we're getting a lot more feedback and input, and it's helpful. I mean, I don't have all the answers, and I don't live where you live, and I don't know what's going on your street. I tell this story about the single car occupancy. I mean, I was riding my bike. I had to, I was single, not worrying about anything. Why do you need to be in your car? And again, that thing about having to take your kids back and forth. So, I don't know what everyone's struggle is, and I won't know unless we get this information so that we can make sure that we are comprehensive planning as opposed to just planning based off of our own experience sitting on the dais.
Is it as antagonistic as we see in city council meetings with the public comment?
It is not the same environment.
Okay.
I mean,
it's unfortunate.
We've had a meeting where but we don't deal with the same issues. Land use is not as contentious as offering money to certain or doing this or doing that. And I mean, that's a big job. The city council has got to have big shoulders.
Did you ever consider doing that? You'd be so good at it. One of our good friends, and we've had just about all of them on the show. One of our good friends of this show is Councilor Heather Hill. She's fantastic.
Yes.
Huge fan of her. And on Monday, it was such antagonistic in council chambers that she left emotional.
Yes.
And Councilor Signer was called nasty names. Would you ever consider running for council? You would be so good at it. But at the same time, it's like, is it worth the headache?
I
mean, because it's a full-time job at
It's
$18,000.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
That is for sure. I do think it's worth it.
So you have considered.
I have thought about it.
And you would win. I'm serious.
Well, thank you. That's generous.
That's true. You would win. So in the future?
Let's see what the future holds. Right now, I am extremely happy at work. I love going to work.
Me too.
So, I love going home and playing with the kids and going on vacation and watching my son play baseball and my daughter doing synchronized swimming. That's a challenge to be fun, but I'm there and she's doing a great job.
I love it. I love it. You have made this interview has been so easy. You were phenomenal.
Thank you.
I just thoroughly enjoyed everything about this. Thank you for your most precious commodity, your time.
Thank you.
We will archive the show in totality on ilovecville.com. We'll turn this, guys, into a podcast on iTunes, and we'll syndicate Lisa's appearance across our network for 30 days, across 17 Facebook pages, 17 Twitter accounts, a daily e-newsletter that goes out to about 110,000 inboxes, third largest Instagram account in the community, and just spotlight a fabulous human being. We close the program the same way every single time, and we ask everybody to embody the golden rule. Treat other people how you want to be treated yourself. It's the golden rule. It's such a simple concept, but oftentimes it's so difficult to embody. Golden rule. I think Charlottesville needs it more than ever. The Commonwealth needs it more than ever. And for topics we've touched on today with Lisa, the country needs the golden rule more than ever. We're back at 3 o'clock here with our charity focus show, and today it's the Caring for Creatures show. Central Virginia's first no-kill animal sanctuary is Caring for Creatures in Fluvanna County. Mary Burkholtz has allocated 30 years of her life to rescuing the most at-risk animals up and down the eastern seaboard and giving them a second, third, sometimes fourth shot at life and rehoming at her sanctuary in Fluvanna County. So Caring for Creatures in our spotlight at 3 o'clock. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thank you.
So good.